right, well, thank you very much for coming. I know it was a little bit short notice, but I wanted to make sure that I thanked Vicki, because part of the reason that I'm here is because, a great reason why I'm here is because of Vicki and this organization, CINA. I attended an event a couple years ago, and the people here were incredible. The community that Vicki had grown was incredible, and then in being able to talk with Vicki on the side, I realized that exactly what she said a little while ago about being there to connect others and to help each other and so on. There's not one bit of false truth in that. She's completely honest about that. And for those of you who are members probably have seen or have been here before, know that. And Jennifer, thank you for spending so much time probably giving me my best introduction ever with all the little things you found out about me. I was thinking, that's true. I didn't even remember that. So we're going to talk about a little bit here is, we talk about secret or not secret. Everybody wants to know what the secret sushi means and all that kind of stuff and everything. But we're going to go into something a little bit different than what I usually talk about. A lot of times people know me for talking about design or talking about social media or talking about new media. And there'll be a little bit of that in here. But I wanted to actually talk about something a little bit different because, as I said, as it was said on the website and everywhere else that it was talking about this event, that we wanted to talk about how you could do something different in 2011 and why you can do something different in 2011. And so that's what I wanted to be able to talk about. And hopefully what I'll do is move the needle a little bit in your mind of what you thought was possible, what you thought you could do with the tools that are available, with the relationships that you have and the connections you have, and make it a positive difference, meaning not just make a buck, but actually do something that has some meaning and that is really special in 2011. So, as we said a number of times, my name's Adam Helweh, and just a little bit about me. I'm a business owner, have been for about 4.5 years, almost 5 years, which just is amazing to me to have been able to own a business, start a business and own it for almost 5 years now. I didn't think that would happen. And previous to that, I was working in a number of different companies in a number of different capacities, not all in the same field as what I'm doing right now. I consider myself a marketer. I think I consider myself a different type of marketer than what some folks think when it comes to traditional marketing. I'm a new media designer, so my background, my actual education, formal education, is in design. So designing things usually for for screen, not print, even though I have some experience in doing that, so that's where the new media comes in. And then I'm also a startup advisor. In fact, the way that I got connected with and meeting some startups, meeting some founders, and meeting some people who wanted to create something new, and we teamed up, and I'm advising a couple Silicon Valley startups now. And then I consider myself a content creator. So content creator, what does that mean? Well, I think we'll go into it a little bit as we move along here. But basically, I blog, I create some videos from time to time. I'm a photographer on the side. In a lot of ways, I know that there's a lot of folks here, like some folks that have cameras and such, that probably are very, very passionate about what they do and even get paid for what they do in regards to creating content. I just do it because I enjoy it, and in a lot of ways it helps me get my name out and so on. So I'm an avid content creator. And the name of my company, Secret Sushi, as everybody said, all right? So yes, I like to eat sushi. It's not that much of a secret if you look and can see me up here. To give you a little bit of idea of what we do in our business, we are interactive and visual design, web development, and new and social media marketing, okay? So we handle the marketing side of things with all the new tools that are out, social media, strategy, and tactics. We do web development, so programming and so on, all the functionality aspect, database, and so on, and interactive and visual design, so the actual stuff that people feel, touch and use on screens, that they see and they use on screen, okay? So if you pull that all together, what we like to say is that we help businesses and nonprofits connect, amplify, and communicate their brand through digital experiences. So that's why we do all those different services here. So I want to talk about business. We're talking about business in 2011. Now, what about businesses of the past, or at least how businesses were perceived in the past? There are very few of us here that I would say have been around. Probably nobody here has been around, was born when the internet was here. Everybody was born after the internet has been around. So we remember, yes?
I wasn't.
You wasn't? I stand corrected. But when we take a look at how business was before, we take a look at things like storefronts, right? So on the right-hand side, we've got a storefront. Somebody wants to sell something. They have to have a physical space in order to sell that. They have, in order to sell a product, or in this case also, it's hard to see, but it says music lessons as well. So in order to do that, they have to have a physical space. They have to be able to rent a spot, to have a place to call home for their business. And then in the middle column here, we see all these things on the shelves, everything from books to all different products. So you have to have shelving space. You have to have a place to have your inventory, okay? So that, again, takes up geographic space. It takes up a place that people have to be able to walk in and browse those products and even potentially the services that you offer in the case of something like a music lesson. So that, again, takes up space, and it costs a lot of money. There's a high barrier to entry in order to make that happen. And obviously, we have a bunch of other storefronts over here and everything, but there's foot traffic. You have to bring people to your store, to wherever you are, wherever you call home, in order to get them to spend money on you, to become visible to them. When it comes to creating things, okay, whether they're created for the sake of selling or for the sake of communicating, whatever it may be, cost money. It did in the past, okay? In order to create, for instance, this is my business cards being created a couple years ago, and the cost that it took for me to create the business cards I wanted to create, not too fancy, but I wanted to be, unique with my cards, took a machine that's this big, which I, of course, can't afford, so therefore I have to go and outsource it to a printer in order to make, and they have to go through the entire process. Somebody has to be there. We got 2 people manning this print machine in order to make sure that everything is running well. And ultimately, for a couple thousand cards of the ones that I wanted, it cost me around $750. Luckily, those cards don't go that fast because of all the other means, digital means and so on, to be able to connect with people. But they've lasted for some time, but $750 just to be able to have halfway decent cards because, of course, when you're someplace, you meet some person, what's the first thing you do? You ask them for their business card. You swap contact information. Then when it comes to connecting and communicating, how many people connect and communicate with their customers at one point in time with these tools here? Raise your hand. Okay? So we remember when we used to get things, that these were the only ways for the most part to connect and communicate with folks if you didn't have permission to walk into their home or to walk up and have a conversation with them. It was sending something in what now is called snail mail, right? Or to get on a phone and hopefully not interrupt them when they're having dinner, right? Would you agree? Okay, great. So what I want to talk about here is related to this. Let yourself be silently drawn by the stronger pull of what you really love. I think that based on some of the things I'm going to talk about here and the tools and things that everybody has already been using, I'm sure, and experiencing, that now is a great time for people to actually pursue what they're passionate about. And people are passionate about a variety of things, but what I strongly believe is that we're in a day and age where you can now amplify what it is that you're passionate about and connect and find folks who are willing to potentially pay you for that, who want to have a conversation with you about that, who want to support you and help you with that concept. So as I said, now is the time to do what you're passionate about. So let's go ahead and hit on the ability to create first and foremost. And if anybody has any questions, just like this young man said right here, please just go ahead and throw something at me or wave at me or something like that. But Einstein said the discipline of creation is a mixture of surrender and initiative. And so the reason I wanted you to pay attention to that is that most people don't think that they have a creative streak within them. They think that the folks that are the creative folks are the ones that are called artists. I know that there's a few of them here who basically their job, their passion is to paint, is to mold something, is to potentially design something. And those folks are considered people that have artistic tendencies or who are artists. And I challenge you to think otherwise. And I'll give you a few reasons as to why as we go along. One company recently, in a lot of ways that people think of being creative, they think of only digital means. They think that it's still hard or impossible to do anything that involves creating a product that's tangible, that people actually can touch and use, and that you would sell potentially on a shelf or in a store. So this is a company called Glyph, and what Glyph did is they were just a couple guys that wanted to design a product, and as you can see by what they said there, they were not happy with the fact that they were going to have to be very dependent upon others in order to sell their product, because it was an actual, as you can see with their product here and all the rest of their photos, it's an actual piece of hardware, right? It's something that they have to physically create and mold and put together to sell to folks. So they weren't happy with that. So what they ended up doing was they put it out there to the masses, as they say. And the way that they did that, if you can see down there in the bottom right, is they used a website called Kickstarters. And what Kickstarters is, it's a website where you go and you put an idea up, and if folks think that the idea is worth whatever, worth supporting, worth getting behind, if it's something they want to buy, then they get behind it by actually putting money into the till and supporting that product. So as you can see the numbers there, they got 5,273 folks backed them up for a total of $137,000 in order to make this product. And you can see that it's indeed real and it's available now. Okay? The product has only been out for a short time, so I'm not sure exactly how it's selling, but I wanted to show you the fact that if you had something that was beyond digital, beyond something that might be easily created by your computer only, that there are services through, there are communities and services through the web, through the internet, through this kind of connection of technologies that are willing to get behind you, these like-minded folks that are doing so in Kickstarter. So how about things like writing, the creative means? How's it going, Dan? So we all know about Harry Potter. How many people have read a Harry Potter book? A couple people I saw, their hands went real slow up, like they didn't want to admit it. How about how many people have seen a Harry Potter movie? That's easier, huh? You don't have to read all the words and everything. I haven't read a book as well. But J.K. Rowling, she was very successful with her books, and in order to be considered a success in the past at least, and I don't mean 2008, we're talking even farther in the past, you had to sell millions and millions and millions of books, and she sold 400 million copies in 67 languages all around the world in order to make it worth the effort for Harry Potter. There is a young lady that was just featured in an article in BusinessInsider.com recently. Her name is Amanda Hawking. She's 26 years old, and she is an amateur, or whether you call her an amateur or professional or not, but she's writing Kindle books. She's writing books that she is distributing via Amazon on the Kindle. And rather than having to sell 400 million of those, she's selling hundreds of thousands of copies per month from time to time here. She might sell a little more, might sell a little bit less, but it is keeping her afloat. She's able to pursue her passion. She doesn't have to do anything else. And her distribution method, she doesn't have to go ahead and take a physical book and get it published and get it produced from some print company or something like that. She doesn't have to go through an agent of any kind. She makes the book, she writes the book, she puts it into the format that it needs to be, and she publishes it on Amazon. And on Amazon, if you can see, I mean, I'm showing you only one of the probably dozen books that she has right now. All of them have around 4 stars, and the average number of reviews are tremendous compared to other products that you might see. I mean, almost 300 folks reviewing a product is quite big.